you get one of these every month, a Dollar Bead Box, or maybe some other subscription service, or you just like shopping for beads and jewelry supplies, you may have found yourself looking for storage and organizing solutions. In today's video, I'm going to show you what's in the May 2019 Dollar Bead Box, and I'll also give you some of my personal tips for organizing and sorting out all of my bead stash. Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another Friday Findings video at KeepsakeCrafts.net. If you're not familiar with the Dollar Bead Box, this is what it looks like when it comes. It's always a very exciting day for me when my Dollar Bead Box and bag show up in the mail. This is a monthly subscription service. You can get just a single month and try it out. But of course, like with many of those services, the more months you commit to, the less expensive. For the Dollar Bead bag, it's, I believe, $8 a month, which works out to $1 per strand. And the Dollar Bead Box is around $20 a month. So we'll start with the Dollar Bead bag. It's actually a separate subscription, but they come together, but you can purchase them one or the other or both. And the way this works is you get 4 3mm strands and 4 4mm strands, and you get a variety of colors. You never know what you're going to get. One thing I love about this is I often get colors that I simply would not have purchased. I'm very much consistent in what I choose for myself and what I like. And so sometimes it's good to push me outside my comfort zone. I can remember years ago, a friend who was into beading talked about Czech fire polish beads, and I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. And when I first heard about this subscription, I was like, well, what am I going to do with those? How useful are those? I tell you what, these are so useful. I use them in so many beading designs. And if you're looking for ways to use them in beading, bead weaving, Bronze Pony Beads has all sorts of wonderful designs using Czech fire polish. So let's take a look at what we've got today. There's matte topaz. I do love the matte finishes. Just kind of gives it an edge of elegance. It's a nice, could be fall, could be spring, lots of different uses for a color like that. Kind of makes me think of butterscotch. Crystal half copper. So there are some beads that are like one color on one side and one color on another. So it's got crystal on one side and copper on the other. It's got a nice sparkle and metallic, and it's kind of interesting because of the two tones. Matte light peridot. And this could be springy or wintry. Again, I love that matte. And winter blue, which, yeah, it could be springy or wintry. Those are really pretty together with maybe a pink or a lavender. For the 4mm strands, we have True Purple, Jonquil, which is a really pretty soft yellow. It's almost, you could almost use it like as an antique white or a cream in some uses. Matte Emerald Green. This is the May birthstone. I should know because May is, actually my birthday is May 30th. I didn't like green as a kid. It was my grandmother's favorite color, and she was so happy. She always gave me emerald stuff for my birthday, and I was like, nah, ungrateful child. And cobalt blue, which is a beautiful, exactly, cobalt blue. It makes me think of a bottle. So those are the Czech fire polish. Now what I do to organize these is first I want to remember the names, because you can reorder them, and you can reorder them for $1 each if you're a subscriber. And you can go on their website and they've got all sorts of colors. And I'll tell you a secret, if you're a subscriber, I've found that sometimes these colors will go away after a while, but some I have been able to go on and order quite some time later for $1 each. But if you want to definitely be able to get them, then do it by that date, which is always a month after the bag. So May will be the end of June. But what I do to keep these sorted, well, I sort my things by color. So, well, first I'll do this. What I do is I get a pair of scissors. And I don't need to keep the labels that say 4mm, 3mm, and such, because I can tell by looking. And I cut these out. I leave this little margin, and you'll see why in a minute. But I cut out these labels. And why do they all, let's see, 3 out of 4 land upside down. Sometimes all of them land upside down. So here's the jonquil. So I'll grab the jonquil, the 4mm, and I like the end that is not with the loop. Just a little less messy. I take a piece of tape, about a 1-inch piece of tape. I put that little plastic thing right there. And then that little margin goes there on the tape. And now I have it labeled. And I do that for all of them. I suppose the only difficulty with doing this is that I am not keeping track of which month I got them in, which usually isn't a big deal. Sometimes I wish I knew, but I don't know. There's only so much. I can only take organizing so far, and then I stop, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. That's enough. So having the names is really the most helpful thing to me, because you can go on their website and just type in the name, and then that will, you'll find it. And then that's the way to find it. And do take care to type them in exactly as they're typed. I've noticed that their search engine is not, helpful. Like it'll say, like the Amazon one will say, did you mean this? Oh yeah, I spelled it wrong. Or you can like swap the words around and say emerald green matte. It probably won't come up on the Dollar Bead Box website. Just something I've noticed. Where is the true purple? So do make sure you type in the name exactly. And I would do the same for all of them. Now that I have them all labeled, it's time to store them. And the way I do this is always by color. Let's see, so we got the greens, we got the blues, purple, copper. I keep, I'll show you. I used to put these in with all my other bead storage, and I'll show you that in a minute. But like I mentioned, I have found these so useful and have been reaching for just specifically Czech fire polish beads so often that I finally gave them their own containers. And I have 2 of these. And I wish I had one that was a little bit wider, or maybe, yeah, I wish I could divide these a little differently. I think this is a fixed divider here. I wish I could have just put it like in the middle. What I wanted was something that was long enough to hold these, although I store this on its side. I need to find a better place so that they're not, because that's why they're all bunched down on the end. I'm really running out of bead storage space in my studio. But what I have are 2. I have them labeled 3 and 4mm Czech fire polish, black and cool colors, and white and warm colors, which is also the way I have my paints organized. So let's see, the purple and blue and green will go in this one. So see, if I kept it stored straight, these would actually all be flat, which would be nice. And let's see, this is purple and blue. So it's nice, I can just pull out all of any one color that I want. The thing about organizing is, how do you look for things? I'm always looking for things by color. So that is how I organize them. So if you look for them by size or shape, then store them that way. I save all these baggies too. I have a whole little tin just for bags, and I found that to be so useful. Now on to what's in the box. You get a nice little letter just telling you a little something about maybe a special, or like last summer they took a trip to the Czech Republic to buy beads. And then on this side you get a whole list of everything that's in your box. To save you the rattle from the tissue, I'll just dump it all out. So as you can see at the top here, you always get a selection of strands. So that's a good place to start. And sometimes you get, not always, but sometimes you get more Czech fire polish. Like here's another strand of 4mm in matte crystal AB. So this will go in my box. Now here's a dilemma when separating things by color. This kind of looks silver, and it's kind of white and clear. which I have a box of beads just for white and clear. I think silver jumps out at me first, so I'll put it in the box of silver. Like I have boxes of greens and blues, and then, you know, is this a green or is this blue? When you get into teal, which is it? You just kind of have to make a judgment call. But let's see what we've got. We've got the Czech glass squished oval, which is a nice kind of organic shape. Olive or jet. I got jet. 8mm Czech glass drux in alexandrite. And kind of nice, we have matching ones in 4mm. That doesn't always happen. Some really sweet 3mm Czech glass pearls in coral luster. I love that luster. It's just, well, it's kind of pearly, lustrous. And 3mm Czech glass pearls in mint tea. And if you got the April box, there were some Czech glass pearls. I think they were 6 or 8mm in mint tea. So that's nice. If you have a regular subscription, you'll start seeing patterns and you'll get things that kind of go together and match. Like you might end up in another month getting the 3mm in the matte crystal AB. And that just expands the usefulness of all of it. So I would do the exact same thing that I did. Yes, I'll chop up my little list and I would cut these out. And I don't keep how many pieces, I can count it. But I would cut these out, and I don't really need, yeah, I do need that. Well, I don't need that for this one because it's Czech fire polish and I know what it is. So that's going in its own thing. But it's helpful with these where they're different sizes. Most of them I know at a glance by now, but it's nice like to know that that's 6 by 8mm. Especially if you're doing bead weaving and you need a specific size. So I would label all of these strands the exact same way. Alright, so all of my strands are labeled and I'll set those aside to file in my organizers in a minute. But now let's look at what else comes in the box. Well, you get a variety of things. You get some findings, like here's some head pins. Here are a couple of cool sliders. I got some of these a few months back in antique gold. I really like them. You might get some big focal beads or some little spacer beads. So let's go over what we've got. So we have the pewter large hole sliders in antique copper or silver plated. Obviously, I have the antique copper. Pop those out. Those are cute. And I saved these little baggies too. I use them a lot for sending things to people and just for sorting things. And that, I didn't explain what I was doing, but that's the easiest way I've found to get these little cardboards out. These are great for mixing glue. If you're mixing small amounts of 2-part epoxy, you can just use a little piece of cardboard. So I use the whole thing. I reuse the box, I fold up the tissue paper and use that. Alright, let's see. So we have some 4mm Czech glass drux in matte jet. These I'm going to leave in their little baggie. So what I do here is again cut out the name. Now these little sliders, I'm pretty confident I can remember what they are, and if I want the dimension I can measure them. And there's only 2 of them. So those I'm going to put in my container of findings, and I'll show you one of those in a moment. But these are going to go in my container of black beads. And I'm just going to take this. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's better reasoning for where something goes. I just try again to sort them in such a way as that I can find something if I'm looking for it. So I would go looking for black spacer beads in my black beads. And then these are 4mm Czech glass drux in crystal, and I would label those. And these, the head pins, let's see, they're down here. Brass eye pins, excuse me. These I will just take out and put in my generic thing of findings. This would go in the gold, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I don't bother trying to label these, or I know what they are. I can just look at them and I can see that they are eye pins, and they're nice long ones. And again, I'll fold that so I can, oh, and there's one hiding in the back there. Save the baggie, save the cardboard. Now things like this. This is really beautiful. It's a 28 to 30mm porcelain oval. Dusty pink, mauve, or blue. I call that purple, but I'm going to guess that outer coating must be blue. Now what do I do with these? I noticed as I had gotten several months of the Dollar Bead Box that things would repeat. There were things, not so much, well, sometimes things would repeat, but there would be different versions of the same thing. Now if I wanted to make a necklace with 3 of these, I could definitely go buy 2 more, but I don't always want to do that. So what I did was I got myself a box just for focal beads from Dollar Bead Box. Because I noticed that there were, like I was getting a whole bunch of these. In fact, this probably, I guess I keep the reds together. But the idea was that, see, all of these are the same mold, just different colors. So I wanted to keep them together rather than having them sorted, the reds and the yellows and the whites. I wanted to have them sorted in such a way that I could make these connections. So there's a lot of different things in here with travertine, and I've got all these little labels in here. So I might put this over here. That's kind of pretty with this other pink focal. I would love a better way of keeping the little papers in here without them kind of obscuring the beads. If you have a suggestion, I would love to hear it. And I will also do the same thing for these. They keep sending all these lovely pearls, these coin pearls and blister pearls and stick pearls. And let's see, this is a large hole potato pearl. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of you who are supporting me on Patreon. We are having a great time over there with bonus video tutorials and sharing ideas. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in getting bonus tutorials for yourself, be sure to check out my Patreon page for details on how you can do that. Oh, look at that. See, suddenly I've got all those pearls and you know, design starts to come together. In fact, I think there are, yep, 2 more in here. 10 to 12 millimeter freshwater square coin pearl. So those will go in there as well. Now, I know this is not a perfect system. When I first filled this, I actually had this in a smaller container, and then I started to gather more, and I had to move it into a bigger container, and I put it into a cabinet. I found myself desperately looking for it one day. Where are those? I know I have a whole bunch of pendants from Dollar Bead Box. Where'd they go? I finally found them. But if you have a better suggestion, maybe something a little bit more streamlined, I'd love to hear it. At the moment, this works for me. Things that I just, like these are both ovals. These are all buttons, because I noticed I kept getting buttons for several months running. You know, and these are so interesting, these pyramids, the 2 holes. I didn't want them to get lost in the shuffle. So that's why they're in their own box. So these are focal beads from Dollar Bead Box in their own box. Oh, and here's another one. This is gorgeous. Yeah, this will go in the focal bead as well. A faceted bicone jet hematite snakeskin travertine. Wow. Oh, see now I'm making connections because this those go together really well. So that's why I do it like that. And I don't know why that one's in there, but that's okay. Just seeing these together kind of helps you just start, like I said, to make connections. These are both peacock pearl things, or peacock finish, I believe. These are hearts. These are, yeah. I kept getting a bunch of these all in different colors, and I thought, you know, maybe at some point if I had enough of them I could do something with all of them. And there's more pearls in different colors over here. So that just leaves a couple more things. These are going to go into their boxes as they are in the baggies. These I'm just going to kind of dump in my brown box, mostly because I don't use it a lot. I don't love them and I can't see myself wanting to buy more. So yeah, sorry, hand-cut faceted smoky quartz. They're just going to go in with the browns and be something kind of random. I do love this jade butterfly, though. So now this could go in with the focal beads, but it's more of a charm or a pendant, and I have a special box just for those. This one is hard to fit under the camera because it's big. This is a super satchel, and this one is called Charms, Pendants, and Focals. And that's exactly what's in here. And I have them sorted a little bit differently. These are sorted more by themes. Like over here I've got kind of steampunky things, and there's silver and gold. Here's birds and bird nests. I don't know why that's there, because here's bugs. So I've got butterflies, mostly dragonflies and bugs. Flowers, hearts, sea theme, and then kind of random. So that maybe it leaked over. I'm not sure why that's there. So this will go, well, this isn't silver or gold. It kind of breaks down up here. I've got a butterfly, so I'll put it up here. It'll have copper hearts, and this is copper steampunk. Oh, this isn't. It kind of breaks down after a point. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just sticking it somewhere. Actually, the turtles should go here. And sea life, and they come on a strand in all different colors, but I didn't want to separate them yet. And that, well, yeah. So this will go in here with the other butterfly. And like I said, they're all by themes, or kind of similarities. So it's helpful if I need a pendant or something that's more of a focal, I can go through this and see what I've got. Now here's some from the Dollar Bead Box that defied categorization, since I don't do voodoo, but I might find a use for them. And I'm not going to show you every single one of these. I have 16 of them, so I have a lot of them that are just for individual colors. This one is obviously purples, so these two strands will go in here. And I really should probably go through this and see about consolidating or maybe destashing some of these and making room to lay out the strands. This is why I moved the Czech fire polish to a different place, because I was putting them all in this compartment here, and it was, after a while, it got ridiculous, and it's now getting ridiculous even without the Czech fire polish in there. So I think I need to maybe do some destashing, maybe go through and pull out the beads that every time I look at them I go, eh. And maybe take out some of these dividers and make some longer sections. By the way, if you buy the super satchels, they only come with half as many dividers as you need. I have every single one of these. Well, almost. A couple of big ones, but just about every single one of these divided up, and you'll need another 20 dividers than what? I think 20 comes and you need 40. But I like these because they hold a lot, they stack nicely. I have 2 stacks of 8 in my studio, and the one I want is usually near the bottom. That's just how it works. And 5 of them are just for findings. I have 2 for gold and 2 for silver and 1 for copper. And so this one has, yeah, I've tried to get specific. Gold head and eye pins and jump rings, and they're all actually in the front here. I don't know why that's there. Here's eye pins. Whoop. Here's head pins, and then jump rings are all in here. So I'm just going to toss those in. Maybe I should put them in a baggie. Oh, I think this is here because they're kind of jump rings. I didn't want to take it apart. I might someday use these jump rings individually, but I also might use them together. So all of my jump rings are in here, and I went through them some time ago, and they're all labeled with the size. And there's chain. So I have 2 of these containers, like I said, just for gold findings, and they're broken down into these. And then if it's not on my list, I have to guess as to which container it's in, because I could only make the labels so long, you know. And I just got, like I had a novel printed on here. And I would love to hear your suggestions for how you organize your bead stash and how you improve on it as it grows.